Merry Christmas, everyone. We thought I'd do a video today on starting business in 2026. 2026 is going to be a year that's kind of unique if you're in the furniture making space, the cabinet making space. You want to work with your hands and manufacture stuff in America. I've never seen so much opportunity in this space, right? My name's Eric Wilkin. I'm the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a fine furniture maker. We are known for our high gloss lacquer coating. My wife perfected this coating technique about 10 years ago, and she turned this thing into a business literally in her garage, a 1.5 car garage. Grew this thing from that to a automotive shop, from an automotive shop into the building that we are in today. We started off with about 2,000 square feet. Now we have about 15,000 square feet. And we employ, I think, 8 or 9 people at this point. We do a low 7 figures, and we put out about 500 pieces a year. I think it's the year that anyone that wants to start a manufacturing-based...
Does that sound fucking awesome or what? Huh?
No, not really.
Right, well, we're gonna have a fucking good time. Let's go to fucking Monaco now, huh? Right. Let's fucking move, let's go!
Business has a lot of advantages, and I'm going to go over all those advantages, things like tariffs, right?
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
Things like the housing market.
And they're predicting double-digit home sales as we roll into the year 2026.
Things like tax credits, things like more qualified customers, right?
It came really low down the valley. Take off your shoes.
They're like in the restaurant in the air. A hotel in the...
People that have in excess of about $500,000 a year in income. And maybe you could take advantage of some of this stuff. Maybe this is the year for you to get away from that 9 to 5.
I have with moving on from a job that I don't really like and haven't really liked for almost 17 years. That's quite a long time to not like something.
Start to make furniture, right? Start to make cabinets. Do this thing that a lot of people, I think, really want to do, but just haven't been able to, right? We'll talk about the competitors in the furniture space.
You look up and you see this.
Your home both beautiful and inviting.
And how they are at a severe disadvantage at this point.
Who is the Chinese supplier behind Restoration Hardware? One of its suppliers is Sanderson Factory in Tangshan,
We say tariffs is the most beautiful word
As
to me
an
in the
OEM
dictionary.
furniture factory, it has more than 20 years experience, focused on elm and pine wood furniture manufacturing, formed a partnership with RH for over 5 years. And you know what? 70% of RH's furniture product is made in China. If you want to do business with Chinese factories, contact me.
Due to, again, things like tariffs and how you can get more swings at the customers that would generally go to a place like a Restoration Hardware, like a Pottery Barn or a Williams-Sonoma. You can have a swing at the same customers that go to places like Hickory.
I think I would like our customers to know that we care.
They go to places like Kindle Furniture. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. Please send emails to the Resplendent Crow or the Modern Woodrunner. Let's dig into all this information that I got for you. All right, so why start a furniture business? Like, of all the businesses you can start, like, why furniture cabinets? All these things, and I'll tell you why. Because it's fun. It's so much fun. It's so rewarding. Like, who doesn't like to make things? Like, it's fun to go into work and get to build something and see it get made every day, and then get to deliver it to a customer and see the customer just be freaking excited about it. Like, there's nothing like it. You know, it's one thing to, I guess, go into a corporate job and you get excited about sending emails or...
Excuse me, have you been smoking any pot today?
No.
Well, you've been stopped here for 15 minutes. Can you tell me why that is?
We're waiting for the stop sign to turn green.
How high are you?
How are you?
Maybe you design something in AutoCAD or something like that, which is really cool. But man, to physically see it come to life and then to deliver it and to be rewarded with the jubilation of a customer is awesome, right? That's why you start a company. Yes, we all want to make money, but at the end of the day, it's about it's about solving a problem for a customer and then getting to see the reward, which is money, and like I said, the excitement that they get when they see your product, you know. So this is our company, right? We're the Resplendent Crow. We make lots of cool furniture. We're known for our high gloss lacquer coating, and we also are known for selling lots of hardware. I import a lot of this hardware from India where we have it manufactured. We design it, manufacture everything. We don't white label anything.
Here's the difference between private label and white label in case you didn't know. If you ever hear the term white label, what that means is that a manufacturer has pre-made clothing or products that aren't branded yet, and all that you're doing is you're just adding your branding to it. So when you go and buy blanks from different manufacturers and you add your own branding to it, you're actually doing a white label. Private label is where you're working with the manufacturer to source raw materials to make your clothing brand idea come to life from scratch.
Which I can talk about white labeling if you guys want, but we're known for making beautiful brass hardware. Like, we sell top end everything, and that's kind of how we want to do it. And that's the direction I'm going to tell you guys to go. You want to sell to the 1%, right? You want to sell to the wealthy people, because that's going to allow you to make the most amount of money with the least amount of effort, okay? Plus, wealthy, what we call qualified customers, just ask less questions. They're less picky about their product. They are easier to deal with, right? So that's really what it boils down to. But, you know, this is a fun company. You know, we have a trade program. We get to deal with a lot of designers. We get to make different kinds of product lines. So our best selling piece of furniture is this same credenza, right? We sell this in all different kinds of sizes, and it's the thing that literally makes us the most amount of money. You know, this particular cabinet probably makes us, you know, I don't know, $300,000-$400,000 a year in revenue. Okay, so it's really important that we make this thing with super high quality and super efficient, because it's a total money maker. You can see all the different kinds of hardware. This is all of our hardware. These lion head pulls, all this stuff, these are very popular. Again, we hand make those in India and import them into America, and we sell them at a fantastic profit. You know, so there's a lot of different ways you can make money in the furniture space, other than actually making furniture. You know, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well today. Try to keep this video down to, you know, 30, 45 minutes. Okay, so you can see it's cool. You know, beautiful pictures, beautiful product, and it's a dream come true to be able to do this for a living. You know, other products we sell, we're known for selling faux bamboo. Faux bamboo is real popular. A lot of it in the South, you know, and we make a ton of this stuff, right? Because the customers, the qualified customers that I'm going to talk to you guys about, the people that are making $500,000 a year or more, they need furniture that's taller, right? People that have bigger homes need furniture that's wider and taller and deeper than traditional furniture. Houses have gotten bigger. There's no way around it. But again, we get to design and make things that have never been made before. Like, nobody makes a pagoda china cabinet. We make this thing. It's beautiful. You know, I make, I don't know, I probably sold 7 of those, maybe 8 of those this year, you know, so that's going to end up being, it's a brand new product, and sold, I think, 8 of them this year. I may sell even more. I have no idea, you know, but this credenza, we're the only one that makes this break front credenza. You know, we've had other people copy it from us, but we're the originators of this thing, you know. But again, very cool to be able to custom make things and design furniture that's unique to your own. You know, we got a faux bamboo credenza here, a really cool cabinet, and I'm just real proud of it, right? We make lots of vanities, curved cabinets, like nobody makes curved bamboo. You know, we make all these things. You know, I make this stuff. I learned all this stuff in aerospace, which I'm not going to talk about my background too much, but you can see you got aviation grade plating. These are all aviation plated. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, guys. And you know, I really like making that kind of stuff. But anyway, so that's why I make furniture. You get to make really cool stuff. You get to design fun things. You get to have fun with your work. You're not set to a specific set of processes, a specific set of way of doing things. You get to decide how you want to do things. You get to decide what it is you want to make, and you get to decide basically when you want to work, which you work all the time. But it's always nice to be able to say you can have a choice. You know, this Savannah console table sold. I probably sold a dozen, 2 dozen of these things a year. People love them. You know, they're beautiful, super functional. They go in foyer cabinet or foyers. Whatever you want to call them, foyers, entryways, different kinds of names for them, but the front of the house. But anyway, so yeah, we just get to sell all kinds of cool, fun stuff. I really enjoy it. I also sell a ton of stain grade stuff. So a lot of people don't know that we do stain grade stuff as well. So here, we'll do a quick search here. Let's do a search here for Washington collection. So here's a beautiful crotch mahogany sideboard that we make. We also make this in walnut. You know, make these in all different kinds of sizes, but these are beautiful. You know, so we get to make the most. You get to make those beautiful products using the most beautiful hardwoods and veneers, depending on what customer you're selling to. Right? There's all different kinds of tiers of customers. You know, so we'll talk a little about that today. Some of the other cool things we've done. Insanely beautiful crotch mahogany table. Okay, so blow this thing up so you can see this thing. Look at that, 15 feet tall, 4 feet wide. There's a matching sideboard, the one that I just showed you guys. But this thing's beautiful. Look at that crotch mahogany. That stuff's so gorgeous. And this kind of stuff you get to work on. You know, it's really cool to be able to buy products like this. Like, as a woodworker and as someone who just loves veneer, you can buy the best of the best. And your customer's going to pay for it. It's a lot of fun. And don't want to make a ton of mistakes because it gets expensive real quick. But more, pick back up here a little bit. So you can see it lines all the way across there. Made these beautiful figured mahogany pedestals will go on this big beautiful desk, this big beautiful table, and just real proud of that thing. So one of the things about starting a furniture company or cabinet company in 2026 is you have to understand just how important these tariffs are. These tariffs literally make starting your own business in America today easier than it's ever been, right? You can compete with the big companies, the Restoration Hardwares, the Pottery Barns, the Williams-Sonomas, the Crate and Barrels, the Theodore Alexander, Hickory Chair, Kindle Furniture, these legacy companies that have been around forever, these companies that don't actually manufacture in America, right? They use slave labor to make all their case goods and all their furniture. You can then compete with them because these guys have to pay big tariffs coming in, right? And 20% isn't much, which is kind of the going tariff in a lot of places. But we're going to go over exactly what each one of these tariffs is real quick, and then we'll continue to talk about, how this helps you as a business in 2026, okay? So the question that I asked is, what are the tariff rates for China, India, Mexico, Vietnam, and Thailand, right? And that's because these are the places that a lot of the furniture companies that we have here in America, these are American furniture companies, but they don't make anything here in America, right? After China was let into the World Trade Organization in like 2001, 2002, something like that, a lot of these companies just started sending everything overseas, right? They then take all that money that they save and they put it into marketing, right? They put it into advertising, they put it into creating more products because they don't have to pay Americans to make that stuff.
Man, but I need it. Fuck you, you asshole!
Right? They don't have to teach people how to make stuff with their hands. They can teach people how to design stuff on a computer and how to sell products, okay? So the tariff rates you need to know, right? So China essentially has a 40% flat rate. It kind of can go up to 50%, but it's really important because a lot of these furniture companies are making stuff overseas, right? Most of the American companies are making stuff overseas. The furniture industry in America has been hollowed out big time. As a lifelong furniture maker, it's the only job I've ever had. I've seen what's happened to my industry, and I had to leave the traditional furniture industry and go into aviation, where there's still not all, but mostly American-made products, okay? So China's paying a big one, about 50%. India's got 25%. The current administration is kind of pissed at India right now, so that could jump up to 50% for all we know. But right now, it's about 26%. I know it's because they import hardware. Okay, Mexico doesn't have much of a tariff. And Vietnam, this is the important one. So Vietnam actually had 46% when these tariffs came out in April 1st, and that was going to be awesome. Like, that would have been, they need to really like triple this tariff, okay? Because most of your high-end furniture is being made in Vietnam, right? And the funny thing about these countries is none of these countries are democratic capitalist countries. They're all socialist or communist countries, which is hilarious, right? Because we're always preaching, oh, American democracy, capitalism, we're going to spread democracy to the world. We don't manufacture in any democratic countries, right? Now, though, because of these tariffs, you will have the opportunity to start a business and compete with these people, which is fantastic. But yeah, that's a side note. It's more of a political thing. So you need to work with capitalist countries. But anyway, so yeah, that's how we go on there. Thailand, again, 19%, just call that 20%. So there is, when a company like Restoration Hardware imports a credenza into America, being able to, like, say they charge $1,500 for that credenza, now they're going to pay 20% on top of that, right? So call that another $300 there. Now it's going to cost them $1,800, which isn't a ton of money, but it does give you not an advantage, but it kind of levels the playing field for you. So I think it's really important that people understand how these tariffs works. And again, with the way this administration works, that tariff can be doubled tomorrow. It can also be taken away tomorrow. Like, it's like if our government wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, they just change anything. It's just whatever. It is what it is. Just be aware of it. Tariffs, super important, right? But unless these tariffs are put into law when the next administration comes in 2028, they could take them all away, right? Or they could double them. They could do tariffs are an interesting thing, right? And I think we're learning as a country what tariffs do, what they actually mean. And if you're an American furniture maker or an American company that makes their products in America, these tariffs do nothing but help you, okay? Let me give you a quick example of how tariffs work using the country of India, because I import so much hardware from India, okay? So let me go over to my website here. Hardware. Okay, so we'll take let's find something that's aesthetically pleasing here. I guess they're all pretty good looking. So I'm a big fan of the lion heads. Look at the door knockers, okay? All right, so this door knocker is selling for $190, okay? So what you guys need to understand about the way the tariff works is this piece of hardware probably cost me, let's say it's $25, right? And that's probably a real number. So that $25 piece of hardware, right? I'm able to sell that thing for $190, right? So there's a spread in there of about $165, right? So that $165 covers everything, right? That's your advertising, your marketing, your labor to clean it up, your labor to package it, your labor to ship it, your shipping costs, all these kind of things rolled up into that. So after all of that cost is accounted for, I'm probably making 100% on that thing, right? If not more, right? So fantastic markup, which is why so many people get their stuff made in foreign countries and then bring that money back here and spend it on, whatever they want to spend it on. Okay. Now, in implement the tariff. Okay, so the tariff we said was 25%. Okay, so if I'm paying $25 for this thing and suddenly I'm hit with a 25% tariff. Okay, so I go from paying $25 for that, tack on 25% of that, and what is that? Do my mental math here. So half would be 1250. Half of 1250 is going to be 6 1/4, right? So 6 1/4 on top of 25 is going to be 31.25. Okay, so I go from paying 25 to 31.25. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, I'm probably not even going to change my price. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. And this is how it is for a lot of products coming into America, right? So when they say, oh, the tariffs are going to ruin everything, the tariffs are going to cause the cost of everything to go up, they really aren't, okay? So that's $6.25 that I'm paying to import this particular piece of hardware. I'm going to spread that across a lot of different people within the supply chain. It's not just going to be me that eats it and then passes on a customer, okay? Truth is that I'm going to negotiate with the people that make this hardware, right? Because I buy, whatever, I probably buy $100,000 in hardware a year for them. They want to keep my business, right? They want me to keep buying this stuff so that they can keep making money, right? Because they're making money, right? So I might have them eat a chunk of that, right? They might eat $1. They might eat $2. It just kind of depends on what we negotiate with, right? The other things, I might eat a chunk of that, right? Like, I'm going to eat a little bit of that because I really don't want to raise the cost to my customer. It's not that big of a deal. But when you sell a very high-end, expensive product, you can raise your prices, and honestly, nobody even knows, right? So if I wanted to raise this from $189.75, add 6 1/4 onto the thing, what's that going to make it? 186, right? Or excuse me, 196. Like, nobody's going to notice, guys. So the tariff isn't going to slow your sales down, right? Especially if you make high-end products like furniture or you sell hardware. Okay, price isn't so much the issue, which is a big deal if you want to get into the furniture space. You want to get in the space where you're making cabinets and high-end stuff. It's important because your customers have money, right? And the truth is, your customers have money in downturns and in up cycles, right? When the economy is good, they're spending. When the economy is poor, they're spending. And this is something that you guys are gonna like about dealing with this particular space, which is furniture. Okay, so I hope this kind of breaks down tariffs and how they work a little bit for you. It's not as bad as people make it out to be. And if I'm being 100% honest, I think the tariffs all need to triple or quadruple if you really want to have an impact. Which there's an argument about that, and we're not going to have that in this video, but maybe one of these days I'll do a video on that. So the next reason you want to start a furniture company in 2026 is because of this sentence right here, okay? Because of this question right here, okay? Is the divide between the rich and poor growing in America, okay? You can see from the very beginning, yes. Okay, and this, again, doesn't matter what you feel about the rich, the poor, the middle class, all that kind of thing. That's not the issue. This is business, okay? And the truth is that we are acquiring, the truth is that the rich are getting richer. More people are becoming wealthy, super wealthy, right? They're leaving the lower class and going straight into the upper class, right? Or they're leaving the middle class and going into the upper class, the middle class going into the lower class. And this creates more qualified buyers, right? This creates more people that are going to be looking for your products, especially in 2026. This is going to create more people that are going to want to spend their disposable income. They're going to redo their houses, redo their first house, their second house, their third house. They're going to want to buy stuff for their kids, right? They're going to want to buy stuff for the kids at college. There's all kinds of potential customers in 2026 because of this divide, right? And if we're being completely honest, you're not trying to sell to the middle class, right? It's nice if the middle class wants to reach up and buy your product, but the truth is that the conversation that you're going to have with a middle class person is not the same conversation you're going to have with an upper class or an affluent person. They're very different, and it's no shade on the middle class. They're middle class are fine. I'm middle class, but I understand that how these people work, having done this for so long. And so you're going to have more customers, right? More people that, like I said, are looking for your products and want to buy your furniture. Okay. So this is a fantastic thing coming up in 2026. Okay. Yes, the divide between the rich and the poor in America is growing based on long-term trends in both income and wealth inequality that have persisted to 2025, despite some short-term fluctuations like temporary narrowing during COVID pandemic. Assessment draws the key metrics such as wealth shares, income ratio, and Gini coefficient, showing widening disparities over decades, with recent data indicating continued or renewed growth in inequality. Okay. The wealthy are getting wealthier, right? So more customers equals more potential sales equals more swings that you get to take at success, right? So this thing is a good thing, whether you like it or not. It's not, again, it's business, it's not personal. So just bear in mind that the divide is growing and there will be more customers. So I think I beat that one to death. Now, another search I did here just for the hell of it, just like, is 2026 a good year to start a furniture business in America? Like, what does Grok say, right? When you compile all the internet's information, what do they have to say about this, right? And they're going to say 2026 could be a reasonably good year to start a furniture business in America, but it comes with notable caveats, right? What are those caveats? We've probably talked about some of them. Okay, the industry shows signs of stabilization, modest recovery over post-pandemic adjustments with positive tailwinds from housing trends, customer spending normalization, and e-commerce growth. However, challenges like tariffs, cost pressures, and uneven demand make it riskier than in boom periods, okay? Some of the things they're going to talk about in this particular tab are the things that I've been talking about, okay? Industry recovery and projection growth, okay? The truth is that the furniture industry has been in the doldrums for basically coming out of COVID, right? Since 2023, it hasn't been that great. Like, this is the first year where we've really seen an uptrend in customers buying furniture, right? Our company, There's Let It Grow, has seen great growth this year. You know, not like stratospheric, but good enough. Like very positive. I feel good about it. I can't wait for 2026. All right. So with the market, with the furniture industry like slowly coming back, it's poised to ride a trend, right? So if 2025, the end of 2025 was the start of that uptrend, 2026, 2027, probably 2028 are going to be pretty good. Projections for growth within this industry, I think I saw where they were poised to grow 6 to 12% a year, which is fantastic, okay? So housing market tailwinds, okay? A strong housing market outlook in 2026, right? So they expect the housing market to thaw. And I thought this would happen last year, but I believe that it will finally start to happen this year. You're going to see lower interest rates. And I believe that for the first time in my lifetime, or the first time since Bill Clinton was in office, I think that the federal government is actually going to make a move towards closing the deficit, right? The yearly deficit, right? I think we print $2 trillion a year. I think you're going to see us print $1 trillion, something that's like, which is going to send a signal to the bond market, which controls 30-year mortgages, to the risk tolerance is going to be much lower, so that rates will fall to take on that risk of a 30-year mortgage. You know, so I think that's going to be fantastic for the industry. Now, if we see this housing market start to move the way it moved during COVID, it could go to the moon. It could literally go to the moon, which is what happened in COVID. It was a wild time to be in the furniture space. I've never seen anything like it. But I had the optimism at the end of 2025 that I had in the middle of COVID, from a sales and business standpoint, right? So I think that you're going to see some really impressive sales figures and interest in people purchasing furniture in 2026, right? In large part because of what the housing market's going to do if it starts to thaw, okay? E-commerce and niche opportunities. Online furniture sales continue accelerating U.S., leading globally with high transactional intent in searches. Trends favor sustainability, customization, modular design, digital tools, 3D visualization, starting digitally. Drop shipping or made to order lowers barriers compared to traditional retail. Okay, so online sales are fantastic. They're a fantastic way to sell products. We are exclusively a online retailer, and we sell products that range from $75 for a cheap piece of hardware up to $190 for a piece of hardware. We sell furniture for $2,500 up to as much as $20,000 literally online. Okay. So the e-commerce space is still moving. I think there's going to be I think people want to get out and touch furniture. People that buy people are going to spend a lot of money on large purchases. They generally like to touch things like they're going to buy a house, if they're going to buy a boat, a car. You know, when you're buying a large ticket item like that, people generally like their hands on it. Furniture's not quite the same way. There are people that do like to look at furniture, and they will only purchase once they've seen it and touched it and, you know, pulled on the drawers, the doors, and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, people buy online with furniture. The key is to have a good name, right? Is to have a good brand, and you could sell, like I said, we sell $20,000 desks literally online. People just pay with their credit card. Like, there are transactions that happen like that, just literally on our website. Okay, so it's really important to kind of understand that. Some of the products that let's just go to our website real quick again. So I'm actually completely sold out of these lion heads, which never thought that would happen. Some of the things that we sell, these credenzas right here, these 70-inch credenzas. We also sell an 80-inch version. We sell, you know, I don't know, 5, 6 of these things a month at this point. We just sell tons of them. And again, people just pay 100% in full, and there's no like half payments. There's no, you know, payment plans. There's none of that stuff. They pay in full. We deliver. And once you've done this long enough, you have the integrity and the name to be able to command that kind of a transaction, and it's fantastic. I love it. It works out really well. Some of the other things that we sell. So literally just sold one of these last week online, no questions asked. They didn't even, there was literally no questions asked. So that's, what is that? Almost $19,000, you know, so they probably spent $20,000 with tax, and literally just bought it, right? And you can see I have the video here. This is another cool thing about having your own website. So I literally have a link to the video where I show how I make this desk, right? So people really like that kind of stuff. Really cool stuff you can do there. So, all right, going back to Mr. Grok here. Okay, so yeah, so e-commerce is gonna be a fantastic way to sell products. Fantastic way to sell products. And one of the things that I'm noticing on here is they said digital tools. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna show you guys how I sell using what they call digital tools, right? All right, so this is a program that I use, right? This is SolidWorks, and this is a really cool way to be able to sell your customers. I use this all the time. I send people videos. I text my customers videos, and I use this tool here to kind of show them what their project could look like when I'm trying to sell custom pieces, right? And custom is one of the revenue streams that you can have in a furniture business. There's several revenue streams, which I can kind of go over some of that stuff. But if I literally just, like I said, I can show the customer all sides of this particular cabinet. I can show them doors, drawers, anything I want on this particular cabinet. What I do is I click on this little icon here, and this allows me to create different kinds of files. In this case, I would create an MP4 file, and I would save it. And then once it's saved, and I do whatever, I do my rotations, you know, maybe I'll come in, I'll kind of zoom in on some of the details so they can kind of see exactly how things are going to look and give them kind of a side view, these kind of things. This allows them to see how it's going to look and feel more comfortable with what it is they're buying, making sure that the details are correct, the measurements are correct. And then I'll send them a drawing. Pull up this drawing here real quick. So I can send them a drawing, right? Something kind of generic, has some generic information on it, make sure I got the base dimensions for them so they kind of know exactly what they're going to get. I can send them additional pages if I want, but these are our build-to drawings for how to make all of this stuff, right? So being in business, you get to learn all kinds of new skills. You know, it's this is probably the one skill that I think is more important than even the furniture making. It's being able to create a drawing and then give it to another cabinet builder, right? Another furniture maker, so that there's no translation issues. There's no information that is not clear, because most people understand numbers, right? So drawings are super important. A great sales tool and great tool for your manufacturing processes and your other employees. You know, so this is really cool. This is what Grok's talking about with these 3D visualizations. You can do renderings, you really highly detailed models like I just shown you. You can do all that kind of stuff, and again, super helpful to sell stuff. So having these tools available today, there's modeling tools like SketchUp, which is made by Google. You've got SolidWorks, which is what I use. And then you have software like AutoCAD is another one that's real popular. CATIA, I think CATIA is probably too high end for anything we're ever going to use. But there's other 3D modeling programs that are really, really cool and will really help you to sell your customers. So here they're saying potential domestic advantage, high tariffs on imports, 25 to 50% on certain furniture categories from key sources could encourage Buy American sentiment and create openings for US-made or locally sourced products, especially in premium, custom, and niche segments, which is exactly what I'm talking about. We are premium, we are custom, we are niche. And this is the segment that you're going to need to operate in if you want to get a business going, right? It's super important that you're looking for that customer, right? And you're going to say, well, I don't have a business, right? No one knows who I am, blah, 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 okay? The way that you grow your business and the way that you get your name out there is by doing the work and showing people your work, right? Which is what we'll talk about here coming up. Okay, that's gonna be your social media, your YouTube, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, all this kind of thing, your website, right? Maybe you got a blog, maybe you got just a regular old business website. These things tell your story, right? Tell you your product. You can put reviews on there. You have customers that love your products and sing praise for your the products that you sell. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start a business, right? You got to get after it. You got to have a website. All these kind of things, blah 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 blah. So, okay, so let's go through risks here real quick about whether it's good to start a business. What is it? See if any of this stuff kind of goes right. So, tariff pressures. They're talking about tariffs. It's funny. It's an advantage and it's also a risk, right? So you just have no idea what tariffs you're going to do, and again, we're talking about making things in America. We're not outsourcing stuff. We're not buying, our products from China or Vietnam and then white labeling them back here in America, putting your name on it, right? You make it. You are the craftsperson. You are the business person. You are the person that is selling something to a customer. You are solving a customer's problem, right? They come to you like, hey, I need this thing. What can you do for me? You say, here's what I can do. What do you think? Great, let's settle on a price. You get a product, I get some money. It's a win-win, right? That's what we're trying to do here. So yeah, so they're outlining tariffs, which tariffs could be a thing, but my concern is that they lower the tariffs, right? If they lower the tariffs, that means you as a business owner are at a disadvantage, especially as an American business owner. You're at a disadvantage, and now all these conglomerate furniture companies can continue to steamroll over you and suck up all your business, So tariffs are definitely a double-edged sword, okay? Economic uncertainty. So yeah, forecasts note a potential weak start to 26 from stronger finish possible, lingering inflation, supply chain issues, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You don't have a lot of supply chain issues if you're an American furniture maker. Okay. The supply chains here in America are fantastic. I have no issues getting anything. Okay. It's when I buy things overseas that I have problems. So if you get your plywoods here in America, you get your hardwoods here in America, your hinges here in America, you should have no problems, okay? So those aren't necessarily issues. And when they say lingering inflation isn't coming from tariffs. Inflation comes from your government printing money. That's it. There's no other cause of inflation. And that's just kind of how I see it. Okay, higher barriers for new interest. Okay, startup costs can be substantial. $1 million for physical retail showrooms inventory. The lower for online custom models. Profitability depends on niche focus, efficient operations, and marketing. Many new businesses struggle with inventory management and competition. Okay, now this is why I'm telling you guys, if you're going to start a business, start online, right? And that's because that's what I do, right? That is the most economical way I know of to start a business, right? So starting a retail place gets very expensive. Retail is going to run, I think the last place we looked at was $7,000 a month for a retail location, right? Which is very expensive, right? You can't make anything in there. You can't exactly be open all hours of the day. There's all kinds of rules around having a retail space. It needs to be clean. It needs to be quiet. It needs to be inviting. It's a huge money suck. Whereas an industrial space, like the space I have, I think I pay $3,000 for about 15,000 square feet. I mean, it's pretty decent, but it's a shithole, right? Like, it's not like I'm going to bring a ton of customers there. It's dirty. It's loud. It smells like paint. There's sawdust all over the place. There's wood dust everywhere. It's very difficult to keep clean. But your costs are really low. So sell your product on the internet, and customers that want to come in, they can come in. It's kind of fun. It's kind of an event, to be honest with you, because they can see how you make things, which is cool for some people, not for everybody. But this idea that you're going to have a manufacturing space and a retail space in the very beginning, I don't see that happening, because yeah, it would probably cost you $1 billion to get those locations outfitted the way they need to be outfitted. So that kind of makes sense. So yeah, definitely don't want to do retail if you could avoid it, unless you got some sweet deal. But good luck. So bottom line, okay, yes, 2026 looks promising relative Yes, 2026 looks promising relative to recent years for a well-planned furniture business, particularly focused on online or hybrid models to minimize overhead, niches like sustainability, American-made, multifunctional smart furniture, leveraging housing recovery for demand. Okay, so we talked about all those issues. And as you can see, it's not a bad time to start a furniture company. Like I said, I think it's fantastic. And again, as someone who's in the space that actually does the work, I could tell you that 2026 is a great time to take advantage of what's going on with, like I said, tariffs, the housing market, this new push to make things in America. Now, talking tax credits and tax advantages and things like that, there are depending on what state you're in, there are a lot of states that have tax programs specifically for people that want to get into business around the manufacturing space, right? It's a big deal for people to want to make things. So if you can put in some capital, you can go to your state, your SBA, even your local chamber of commerce, and you can find what these tax credits are, these abatements, and all these things to help you offset the initial startup cost of starting a manufacturing facility. So don't be afraid to look at it. And again, I don't know a ton of them, but I know that it's really hot right now. I was doing a talk with Grok this morning about these things, and they told me a bunch of them here in Illinois where I live. My business is in St. Louis, but I live in Illinois, and there's a ton of tax advantages to being in Illinois, believe it or not, which is a crazy tax state. But if they know that you're bringing business from St. Louis to Illinois, they give you special treatment, which is hilarious. Like there's places in America where Kansas City is the one I always like to talk about because I lived in Wichita for a while. Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri are literally the same city. There's just a line that separates them. But Kansas City, Kansas is always trying to steal business from Kansas City, Missouri, and vice versa. And so you have businesses that just bounce back and forth to depending on who has the best tax advantage, So states like to do that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to look up that kind of stuff and see if there's an opportunity there for you to save some money on your taxes. Write off equipment. I even saw one where there's a tax credit for training employees at local trade schools and things like that. So there's just all kinds of ways to offset the cost of starting up a business if you know where to look. All right, so now let's talk about online presence, right? This is something that if you're going to start a business in 2026, you have got to dive into with both feet first. Like you've just got to cannonball into this bitch and go get it, because online presence is almost everything. Like if no one knows who you are, you're not going to sell to anybody. Okay, so I want to go over quickly what it is that we do from an online thing to develop our brand. Right, your brand is everything. Okay, so obviously we have a website. Right, everyone knows the Resplendent Crow logo. They know the beautiful high gloss lacquered Resplendent Crow furniture. Right, so that's kind of one thing. Some of the other things that we have is here's my wife's Instagram page. Right, this is the Resplendent Crow. Right, this is our a place where we do all of our content. We talk about our furniture. We talk about design. We talk about things that we're doing in our house that use our furniture and our bright colors. This is the brand, right? And again, whatever your name is, whatever your logo ends up being, it needs to kind of all work together, right? We're the Resplendent Crow, right? The crow is black, it's dark, right? And resplendent obviously means colorful, so it's a little bit of a kind of an oxymoron. It's a play on words. It's a great name, and my wife came up with that. Had nothing to do with it, but it's great for our brand and great for what it is we do, which is sell high gloss lacquered, beautiful furniture. Okay, and you can see that again in all of our posts. Lots of color, right? So I redid her bathroom in here, made this vanity for her, did all the paperwork for her, and again, it's beautiful, right? Nice and colorful. Same thing with this room. We did this room in all these reds and pinks. Again, people really liked it. We painted this piece for that same room. You can see the vibrant. This color would be like a ruby type color, but beautiful. Nice brass chair. And again, this is a office that I redid for my wife. You get bright chartreuse colors, beautiful papers. This is what we do. And when we post this stuff, not only do people like the color and they like the content, but they like the furniture, right? So it drives them to say, oh, I like this person, Sucheta, I like her husband, Eric, I like their company, the Resplendent Crow. And it endears you to these customers, right? It endears you to them. They want to know what you're making. They want to know what you're doing. They want to buy your products because they like, know, and trust you. Like, know, and trust is a big thing that you're going to want to learn about if you want to start a business in 2026. Okay, so again, notice the lampshades, right? Super colorful. These beautiful I think this is a 10-foot, 2, 4, 5. This is an 8. Yeah, this is an 80-inch Zane credenza. Again, look at the color, guys. Like, this is our brand. This is our company. Super colorful. The Resplendent Crow. Look at my wife. Super beautiful. Super colorful. All of it's there. It all kind of goes together. We make these drink tables. Again, super colorful. So that's one thing that we do. Another thing I want to show you guys real quick. Type in the Resplendent Home. We have a blog called the Resplendent Home. Okay, again, notice all the color. Notice all these pictures from our Instagram. A lot of these are from our business website. Okay, we sell a lot of this stuff. Okay, we have articles that my wife has written about the furniture, about what it is that we're doing in our home. All these things work as a funnel to draw people in, right? And again, in 2026, e-commerce is huge. Content is huge. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all these kind of things. Pinterest. These are massive platforms to show off what it is that you do, to show how amazing your products are, to show what you're capable of. And again, why does a customer need your product, right? And that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is they see your thing, like they see this china cabinet with this beautiful paper in the back and think, oh my God, I have to have that. And that's literally how it works, guys. These people literally, they lust after these products. And this is what you want to do if you want to start a furniture company. You don't want to make something that's just like, oh, that's really cool. You know, oh, I really like that you were able to make that. No, you want people to salivate over your product. You want women to just be like, I gotta have it. It's so pretty. Like, this is how it works, guys. And again, as a business owner, you can chart the image of your company. You can control how people see your product, how people see your brand, all these kind of things. You're not hamstrung by some boomer who owns a company that is super old school, some legacy company that doesn't want to change their brand at all. They just want to keep doing the same thing they've been doing for 50 years. You get to chart your own course and be as exciting as you want, be as dull as you want, whatever it is that you want to do, you get to do all this stuff. And again, this is what we're doing, right? So I hope you guys kind of can see what we've done. Here's an article where I took the mahogany panels out of the center doors. I put glass in there for my wife. She just hated how dark those doors were. So we were going to replace those. And again, wrote an article about it, because people, again, they like, know, and trust what the Resplendent Crow does, what my wife does, what I do, what our employees do. And this is just part of showing them who you are, right? People want to buy stuff from people that they like. So it's important that you show them, right? Show them what you do. Show them who you are, all these kind of things. And that's one of the fun things about being a business owner. Again, she's got these freaking so many of these articles. She's just done a fantastic job. I mean, look at this. This is literally in our living room right now. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. This is a faux bamboo china cabinet. Again, all these beautiful chandeliers. We got a ton of these beautiful chandeliers in our house. Again, you show people this stuff. If you want to sell a high-end expensive product, you need to show people a high-end expensive life. You can't sell a super high-end product and then wear tattered clothes around and drive some piece of crap car around and live in some trailer. Like it, that's not gonna work. The image of who you are and who you really are has to kind of match your brand a little bit, So I hope that people can understand this. That's no shade on anyone. It's just trying to illustrate to you guys what it is that, yeah, my ring finally broke. I was waiting for this thing to fall apart. I have another one. Anyway, yeah, so this is really important that you create a brand that reflects who you are, where you want to go, and creates lust for your customers, right? You just want them to just salivate over your product. So anyway, I hope I've kind of made this clear how this kind of stuff works, right? So that's the Resplendent Crow side. I also have a brand, the Modern Woodworker, which needs a ton of work. It's nothing like the Resplendent Crow brand. So I'm not even going to get into that, okay? So I hope this kind of helps you guys to understand what you need to do in 2026 if you want to start a business, because there's just so much opportunity. There's so much money out there. There's so many people that are looking for furniture. They're looking for cabinets. They're looking for bookcases, credenzas, dressers, headboards, all these kind of things. And this is a perfect time to do it, but you got to learn about websites. You got to learn about branding. You got to learn about how to work on the social medias, make video, take pictures, all these kind of things. And these are ancillary things that I'm not really going to talk about too much. This video is just basically talking about 2026. And some of the things that I see are things that I haven't seen in a while that are really going to make it possible for you to start a business if you really want to do it, So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. It's content about the woodworking business from a person that actually owns a woodworking business that sells furniture every year, right? We sell hundreds of pieces. We don't make our money selling subscriptions. We don't make our money on sponsorships. We don't make our money selling drawings and courses on how to make furniture, on how to be a business owner. We don't do any of that. We run the business and we show people what it is that we do. We want people to understand that this is how you run a company, right? This is how you, the things that work, the things that don't work, it's all there. And we show it to everyone because it's really important to us. Because that's how you get a company up and running. That's how you get a company moving. That's how you grow a company. That's how you have a company that can be passed down from you to your kids and your kids' kids. And you could have these companies that are 25, 50, 75 years in business, you know. And for me, that's the ultimate goal. I want to see this company live on long beyond me. And I hope to help a lot of people at least start the journey of owning a business and doing the thing that is that they've always wanted to do, if that's your thing, you know. So anyway, Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy New Year, all those kind of things. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Like I said, watching football, drinking some booze, hanging out with the friends and family, the kids, all these kind of things. And we'll see you in the next video.